Hello, this is Roger for the Splish Splash and very much welcome to my Modern Warfare review. I've been waiting some until I actually got the impressions needed to make a full review quite a few hours into the game, especially since I have been seeing quite a few so-called reviews made by bigger channels that only scratches the surface on this game within the 5 to 6 minutes mark. But today I'll do my best to give you as much of my impressions as possible so you at the end of this video can decide if you want to buy the game or not. So, Modern Warfare was released on October 25th, and this time around we knew by playing the alpha and beta that something big or at least something new was about to happen. Something that we haven't really been experiencing before in a Call of Duty game. The publisher is still Activision, but the brains and creators behind Modern Warfare 2019 is Infinity Ward, one out of 3 studios in rotation when it comes to making Call of Duty games. Infinity Ward is a studio that has made a great recovery over the years, especially after the Modern Warfare 2 release back in the days where they lost a lot of good manpower for reasons we're not going into in this review. First off, I will start to talk about the campaign. As we all know, Treyarch decided last year not to have a campaign in Black Ops 4, a decision that disappointed a lot of players in the community. So just by adding a campaign in Modern Warfare, I'll feel that Infinity Ward got a lot of plus points already there from people that were ready to grind another action-packed storyline. The campaign this year follows American CIA officers and British SAS forces as they team up with rebels from the fictional country of Urzikstan, combating together against Russian forces who have invaded the country. One of the very well-known Call of Duty tough guys is back, and I'm happy to see that, the mighty Captain Price, who has always been one of my favorite characters in the franchise. The game's special ops mode features cooperative play missions that follow up the campaign story, but that's something we'll talk a bit about in a moment. Maybe you've already been reading or heard about the negative reactions when it comes to single player in this game. I'm mainly referring to negative reactions from Russians being portrayed as bad villains in a somewhat America-positive hero shooter. Well, that's how Call of Duty campaigns plays out more or less, and this one is no exception. Right or wrong, well, you judge. But besides that, the campaign takes you to different places, some chaotic and also devastating moments where civilians get caught in the crossfire. It is exciting and it gets your adrenaline going, and it also gets a bit emotional from time to time, and not to mention a bit scary when the game almost turns into a horror game when playing hide and seek with you playing as a young girl hiding from a beast of a soldier that is searching your house for survivors. I think it's an excellent mix, and the storyline and voice acting adds that extra thrill and nerve that makes you want to play more. There are a few bugs here and there in the single player, such as these.
Element of surprise is not on our side, boys. Stay frosty.
What are they doing? Aren't they? They're walking through the door. They're walking through the door. It's a glitch. And I can't open the door now. Oh, what are you doing? Are you? Oh, she was actually going for the gun. I thought I saved her. That was an interesting situation. Oh shit. Ah! Look at this, guys. Look at this, guys. Oh no, her head is it went through the hole of the door. Oh shit, now it went actually through. Oh, she's falling down through the floor. Alright, a good laughter is always welcome, don't you think? These bugs are, at least for me, kind of okay, but something that has been truly annoying people, and me included, is the stuttering in most of the cinematics. This becomes a thing after some time, and unfortunately I haven't seen effects for this. But the single player is a lot of fun to play. I'm currently streaming it, and I have also got positive reactions from people watching the stream. So I will give the campaign a 8.5 out of 10, since it gives you about 7 to 9 hours of cool action, environments, and maybe perhaps the best single player since Call of Duty 4 in my opinion. Now let's talk about the multiplayer. That is for most people the core foundation of a Call of Duty game, and I have to say that goes for me as well. To start with, I want to say that I'm happy to see crossplay being implemented, meaning both console players and PC players in the same lobby. It seems to work really well. It's also great that they're adding new content, maps for free, which is how it should be in my opinion. Although that hasn't been the case in many of the former Call of Duty games. According to a leak, there will be 38 more maps added to the game, which is of course great news. Some of them are also older Call of Duty maps, which I think is a good idea, and I will come to why I believe so in a moment. There's a new graphics engine running which gives us up-to-date graphics, and it was about time, I would say. Infinity Ward has therefore taken the opportunity to not only make the look of the game somewhat more realistic, but also design the maps and the gunplay towards a more tactical approach than before. But is this really something new, or is this more like going back to how, for example, COD 4 the multiplayer played back in the days? Have we just forgotten how old the COD was designed and played? Nevertheless, a new era in some way has started, at least in the hands of Infinity Ward, which means that the classical 3-lane maps are more or less gone for now. Instead, we have more complex maps with many buildings, corridors, doors and windows to bother about. So how does this affect the gameplay? Quite a lot, I would say, since my experiences when playing the Respawn game mode such as TDM or Domination shows that many people are very cautious when playing. Very often a game of, for example, Domination ends not because of one team reaching full score, but because the game ends due to no time left. This has, in my opinion, become a problem, also in combination with the fact that many players are mainly focusing on leveling up their classes or in weapons instead of focusing on the objective. So to start with, I believe Infinity Ward should give more points to the person and team captain flags. The weapons are doing high damage this year around, which I'm pretty okay with, but that in combination with this map design I just described playing the Respawn game modes makes a lot of people camp inside buildings. The problem to sometimes spot a person inside a dark building makes it easy for them to aim down sight and kill you from their position. Add to this that footsteps are quite loud, and you will find yourself in quite a disadvantage when opening a door that leads into a dark room. I hope that they can tweak the sound of the footsteps so that you can actually hear a difference if a person is on the other side of the wall or in the same room as you. Rainbow Six here is a great example, maybe the best one. So for me, Domination and especially Team Deathmatch is a kind of pain in the ass sometimes on many of these maps. Not to mention when you play the 20 versus 20 versions of these game modes, chaos. A tip though is to always equip smoke when playing Domination. It's very useful and can help you also making a run or taking a turn on the map in another direction. But it's unfortunately not so many maps that I like when playing the casual Respawn game modes, and I will therefore like to see also a vote skip option in the menu. Please add that, Infinity Ward. The best experience I've had so far when playing a team deathmatch is when I've been able to choose realism with no HUD information whatsoever. That's when it starts to become more interesting and also more fun to play. Another game mode that aren't that map design sensitive is Headquarters, although the objective sometimes literally spawns in the hands of the enemy. So what game modes plays the best on these maps? I would definitely say the non-respawn game modes such as Search and Destroy and Cyber Attack. That is a kind of Search and Destroy light version, you might say, where you can rest people if they get killed, which brings another tactical element into play. The only downside here that I've found so far is that some of the bomb sites used in Counter-Strike term are sometimes placed too close to the attacking team spawning, making it quite easy to smoke down and plant within seconds. Another game mode that has been added into Modern Warfare that I would like to praise is Gunfight. The 2v2 game mode where you face off on small map is a great addition to the game. It's fun, tactical and somewhat competitive at the same time. Also new in Modern Warfare is the 32 vs 32 ground war game mode where you need to get as many control points as possible. There's also vehicles on the map such as choppers, APCs, tanks, etc. And I have to say I'm surprised that nothing has still been done when it comes to the tanks. In my opinion, it's possible to have too many tanks at the same time on the map. So I hope that they at least put some time of spawn limit and a spawn delay when it comes to the tanks. Because I believe the gunplay is so good in Modern Warfare that I could simply see myself playing this game mode with no tanks at all, to be honest. When I'm doing this review, there's finally been a third map added into rotation. I hope it's good since I don't fancy the first map called Cars Driven Quarry that much. My opinion hasn't changed since the beta. Either they need the map to become bigger or they need to scale down the amount of players, maybe 20 versus 20 instead. because I do believe that it would help the overall experience of this game mode, on this map at least. The map called Tovarsk District plays a bit better, although the tank problem mentioned is still there. And in this game mode I also wished, when it comes to ground war, that they added at least bullet drop on the sniper rifles, or maybe also less velocity, because sitting on a rooftop being able to laser people from great distances using a sniper rifle feels a bit weird. And remember, this comes from someone that often plays as a sniper. I strongly believe that this ground war game mode can be improved in many ways, so I'm therefore only playing it occasionally. I mentioned early on that I think it's a good idea that Infinity Ward will add some of the older COD maps as well. What I meant here is that it might give the respawn game modes such as TDM and Domination a better playground, since many of these maps are built upon the classic 3-lane concept. I'm not sure though how many they are, but maybe they could be put in a certain playlist for this purpose. Besides the single player and the multiplayer, you're also able to play co-op in something called Spec Ops. I haven't been able to put down so much time into Spec Ops, since you do have to play it with 4 squad mates due to the high difficulty level. That's something I highly recommend. Many people are saying it's too difficult, and maybe that's the case. Since these missions also pick up where the campaign concludes, you might want to try this after you've finished the single player. This is not something I personally will spend much time playing, but if you're in for a challenge, then you should definitely check it out. They will add more content to it as we go in the nearby future, which I think is a good thing. But due to me not being so fascinated by Spec Ops so far, I'll give it a 5.5 out of 10. I mentioned the gunplay a bit earlier, and I do think it's really good in Modern Warfare. Also that they've been putting a lot of effort in being able to tweak the guns in so many different ways, using different attachments that you unlock. I can't really remember seeing such an in-depth customization when it comes to guns before in a Call of Duty game. There's also challenges you can do to unlock even more weapons, so there's plenty to do for everyone that likes to grind for new weapons and variants. I do wish though that you were able to unlock another weapon slot a bit earlier, since you only have 5 custom slots available from the start. Because with all these guns and variations, I do find myself changing the existing ones quite often. Another plus is that you can save your favorite weapon blueprint, which is great. That has saved me a lot of time. There's more to say about this, but that would be a video of its own. There's always some weapons that are better than others in a game, and I guess most people by now know that the M4 is definitely one of them, especially when you get the right attachments. But another gun that stands out a bit, maybe too much right now in my opinion, is the 7.25 shotgun, which becomes a beast when it comes to damage and especially range when you have unlocked the best attachments. Many players are also almost abusing the Ghost perk in combination with this gun, and I do think Infinity Ward need to look into this. So is Modern Warfare 2019 worth your money? I would say yes. If you're looking for a good single player experience and somewhat new look and feel when it comes to the multiplayer. Since they've also added cross-platform, it will give you plenty of possibilities to play with friends that might be grinding on another platform. Add to that the free maps, quite many of them coming up in the nearby future, and you'll have a game that I at least would play for quite a long time to come. With these words, we're about to wrap things up. This video took quite some time to put together, so if you enjoyed, it would be very much appreciated if you give the video a like, maybe share the video, and also make a comment what you think about the game.